This is TCR, TroyCommunityRadio.com. I'm Clint Myers on 107.1 WTJN, and time for the Mayor's Report on this Saturday morning with Mayor Michael Beamish.
Well, I'm glad to be here, Clint and David and all the listeners out there. And I got to start out with a compliment. I'm a big supporter of Troy Community Radio and what you do to promote the activities, the events that take place around our Troy and area. But I got to tell you, over the last week, I've heard from a number of individuals that have said they really like the Breakfast Club. So I got to give a shout out for you and Lori for what you do every day. David's always out and about doing coverage for different events and activities. That's certainly a kudo to David. And Bill McIntosh has certainly been a big asset to Troy Community Radio with his news coverage and his melodious voice that he comes across on the airways. Same to you, Clint. But, those are things you hear out in the public. And there are things that a lot of times you don't hear inside the studio. So I wanted to give a start for this program by saying thank you for what Troy Community Radio does for this community.
Well, thank you so much, Mayor, and exactly the reason when Scott and I put it together in the beginning that we were looking to do, get involved with the community and make sure everybody's informed about what's going on. That's what local radio's about.
And you mentioned Scott. Scott has taken many risks in the radio business, and this has, I think, been a great venture for him and for the studio and for what this radio stands for. We try to highlight those good events that we've got that makes Troy special.
Well, we've got tons of things here in Troy that makes Troy special, and there are a lot of volunteers that put in their time to make Troy a special place.
Well, I really like to give a shout out and a salute to our volunteers. And this is the time of year when volunteers are so needed. We have a lot of projects going on. I know Main Street has a project, I think today, with
doing the planters.
Right. And it takes people to make that successful. I know Troy Strawberry Festival is just weeks away. And it takes thousands, if not at least hundreds, of volunteers to make that possible and to keep moving forward in a positive way. So, I appreciate you mentioning that, Clint, because volunteers are so essential. We talk about the downtown many times. You and I, we're very proud of our downtown as the living room of our community and its beauty, and it's an icon. We've talked about the treasures of Troy, Treasure Island being one, Hainer Cultural Center, the organizations, but it takes people. It takes people to make all that possible and make Troy what it is today. And so I want to first of all say thank you to the people who perform a service on their own free will.
Yes.
Volunteers mean just that. You have to volunteer, give up your own time. It's a person who, in my definition, renders a lot of aid to a group or an organization to make that organization stronger. It's a person who gives many times of their time and talent and treasure. In many cases, they contribute financially to the success of an organization or an activity. And I guess the bottom line is they choose to assume an obligation to help someone or some other group on a voluntary basis. So to me, today, I'd like to give a shout out as a tribute to volunteers, people who make Troy what it is today. And this is the season where you have that opportunity to give of your time, talent, and many times treasure to help an organization, an event, a group. I mean, we can keep going on, but you and I both know it takes people to make a good community.
Being a volunteer is a labor of love.
That's a good way to say it, too. And it's a choice.
Yes.
You don't have to be involved. So I'm encouraging. I will even add, volunteers can go out and take their wellness walks and go around, as we have talked, pick up trash.
Yeah.
I mean, just anything from your heart that you do to make a community look and achieve better.
Absolutely. Let's talk about some of these wonderful groups that we've got in town. Want to make mention of Partners in Hope.
Oh boy, this past, in fact, yesterday, Partners in Hope had the groundbreaking ceremony, and we all know Partners in Hope has a history in Troy. We have so many good organizations that are supported by the Troy Area United Way, and Partners in Hope is one of those, but Partners in Hope is venturing out. They still see the need, the service to help others that maybe are not as fortunate as others. And so they have big plans to expand their operations and have their own facility. Bless the Methodist Church for providing that space for a number of years. But we're looking forward to seeing the structure become a reality. And instead of having a groundbreaking, we'll have a ribbon cutting.
Now, what I think makes Partners in Hope the success that they are, it's not an organization that has handouts. They're hand-ups, to where they actually work with people in need and help them learn and retrain themselves on how they're going to do it themselves and keep themselves moving forward.
You said it better than I could say it. It's really retraining and giving people hope and faith and encouragement to be a better person and move down and be successful.
Now, in this past week, we've seen the fountain on in downtown, which to me, that is the center point of our living room. It's like the TV right there. It's something that we can look at and be proud of, and all the planting went on around the fountain as well. So the downtown is just absolutely beautiful as one of our treasures. And like you said, Main Street is planting the planters that will be outside the businesses and such throughout the downtown. But Treasure Island, another one of our treasures here in Troy, and we had the mayor's float.
Well, yes, this took place yesterday as well, weather permitting. Now, I want to say that because our show's aired on this Saturday, but we were to have our second annual mayor's float, and the Adventures on the Great Miami sponsor that. And They're True is a volunteer group who, they're for profit, but for this special event, they provide the kayaks, the canoes, the life preservers, and just want us to enjoy the ambiance of the Great Miami River. And so what we do is we meet at Treasure Island Park. They bus us up to Twin Arches, and then we have a leisurely float back down. And then Larry Smith at the Boathouse restaurant, we have a chance to fellowship together after we all get back safely. So if the weather did not allow us to do that, we will have a rain date, and that will be on May 25th. That's next Friday.
All right. So we'll see if you float again.
We'll see if we float again. I like floating and not sinking, so that's a good thing.
I do want to say something. On Treasure Island, there was so much talk before, and folks saying, oh, it's going to flood, and all of this is going to get destroyed. Well, here we are, year 2, and I've been down there every time that the river has rose, and I've never seen any. I've seen maybe dirty grass, and then it rains, and that goes away. So everything was built and has operated and worked exactly as it was said it would.
We never said that the levee wouldn't flood. We know
Right.
the rivers go up and rivers go down. But we designed it so that we could accommodate the many activities and the many events that we have put on Treasure Island Park for the enjoyment of people of all ages. And so we will continue to do that, and the amphitheater is going to be used a lot. Bill McIntosh, who we spoke earlier of, and Kathy have the Troy Community Band as their home there, and they have a number of programs to put on. So I would encourage everybody, if they haven't taken the family down there, just to take a walk on the walking track now, or the walking way down through there, just to see the lighthouse and see the beauty and the tree line and the river line and the skyline of downtown.
I love picking up a sandwich at lunchtime, and I go down to Treasure Island and park the car, whether I just sit in the car. But what a beautiful view looking out of the river, and
Absolutely.
I love it down there.
You know, Of course, we have the shelter house for people to enjoy their lunches and dinners there and picnics. But if they go to the Boathouse, Smith's Boathouse Restaurant,
Wonderful.
they have a patio
my
that gives
gosh.
a great ambiance look of the Great Miami towards downtown.
Or go down and you can rent a canoe, go out and just launch.
Certainly want to promote the ventures on the Great Miami. Chris Jackson really is working hard to promote that area as a destination and as a put-in for canoes and kayaks.
Now, I have to say this, I think I've said this every year, but if you can't find something to do in Troy, you're not looking very hard.
Well, I'd like, you and I have both talked about this. I'm very proud to say we have tried very hard to have activities, both recreational and cultural, for people of all ages, young and older alike.
Whether they're, free events like the Mayor's Float, or the fact that we have a concert venue like Hobart Arena.
Absolutely.
And even though you pay, where else around here do you have? You got to drive 50, 75 miles to go really check out something like that.
And it's historic but renovated. Yes. And so we have a lot of projects going on, but it's through the efforts of good financial stewardship that we're able to have the finances to be able to do these projects for the betterment of our community and its citizens and its visitors.
That's right. And that's what helps, like you say, bring folks into town. And that's what keeps folks here, too.
Thank you.
All right. You have council coming up on Monday.
That is. Monday, May 21st, we'll have council at City Hall, 7 o'clock. Of course, if they can't come out, we live stream this, and so you can see what's being done with your city government. And I will tell you this past week, we also had Leadership Troy.
Oh, that's right.
People came, and they saw what government in Troy is like compared to governments and the different kinds of governments around our region. So
you even had someone that stepped in as mayor for the day.
Absolutely. Thank you for bringing that up. We did have every August the Chamber of Commerce has a auction, a steak fry, and one of the people they've always asked me, and I don't know why, but they always ask me to see if I could have an honorary mayor for a day, and they'll bid on that to see who's the high bidder to be able to shadow me and be a part of a day. So Angie McWhirter, who many people know as the executive director of the Home Builders Association, won that opportunity, and she will be, she has been the honorary mayor of the day, and we match it up to Leadership Troy Day, so she can get an experience seeing what our departments are like, then join in and learn about our government with Leadership Troy.
Okay. Well, when is the next time that they will auction off mayor for a day?
Well, that'll be in August. Usually it's the Chamber's decision on what day they choose, but it's a steak fry, but they also have a live auction and a silent auction. I would encourage people to certainly support the Troy Area Chamber of Commerce and the Troy Development Council, because they have done some powerful and great things for our Troy community, and the monies will help offset some of those projects.
All right. Well, I got an idea that goes along with that. See, now, if I were to come up with the most amount and buy the mayor for a day, we could do a jail and bail, and then I could have people arrested, and then they have to pay, and then that money goes towards.
Boy, yeah, I've never had. I mean, I know about jail and bail. Many organizations have used that in the past. It's kind of slid down on the priority chart. I don't hear many of those anymore, and I think it's because in this day and age, people take certain things for reality, and if you're seen,
true, led away in handcuffs.
Yes, they think it's real instead of for a good cause.
Okay, well,
nice try though.
I was just trying to get a couple of people off the streets. Okay, Mayor. Council, like you say, again is this Monday.
That's right.
All right. Anything else you'd like to add this morning?
I think we've covered a lot of bases. Again, a big salute to volunteers and all the people who contribute to the lifeblood of this great community.
It doesn't work without them.
Yes.
This has been the Mayor's Report with Mayor Michael Beamish. I'm Clint Myers on 107.1 WTJN.